Hey everybody, and welcome to Epic Everyday, our weekday podcast for busy, stressed out Christians who want to do more.
That's right. You don't want to just trudge through life.
I'm Liz Frericks, and this is my husband, Evan.
Good morning.
And we're so glad you guys are here with us today. Since it's Friday, we are going to talk about being complete. Being complete is utilizing your entire self, so you're not fragmented, you're not being one person at home, one person at work, you're being your whole self all the time. We talked earlier this week about pushing away emotions, like, kind of orphaning parts of yourself.
Yeah.
So you're not doing that. You're being your entire self, and you're being fully in the present. You're not stuck on the worry, regret spectrum in the future or the past. And you're engaging with what is actually happening rather than being caught in denial or anything else. And this week we've been talking about vulnerability armor out of Brene Brown's book, Daring Greatly. So today we're going to talk about serpentining.
Yeah, which is kind of less than armor and more of a evasive action. Avoid.
Seriously.
Kind of imagine, she has an example in the book where somebody imagines running from gunfire and they just are zigzagging to avoid it or something.
It's from The In-Laws, which is a 1979 movie starring Peter Falk and Alan Arkin. And yes, it's them just running back in a zigzag pattern to try to prevent getting shot. She talks about how serpentining is the perfect metaphor for how we spend enormous energy trying to dodge vulnerability when it would take far less effort to face it straight on. It means trying to control a situation, backing out of it, pretending it's not happening, or maybe even pretending you don't care. Yeah. We use it to dodge conflict, discomfort, possible confrontation, the potential for shame or hurt, and or criticism, self or others inflicted. Serpentining can lead to hiding out, pretending, avoidance, procrastination, rationalizing, blaming, and lying.
Wow.
There's a lot in there.
Yeah. Well, what I thought of was when we're so uncomfortable with some of these emotions that we think are negative, like sadness and anger. Mm-hmm. It's like in Inside Out, I guess, but that's not the primary thing I was thinking about, but that happens in there where we get someone's in a tough spot, and instead of really helping them, we're like, let's just cheer them up. Let's make, like if it's a kid, you're like, I'll make the kid laugh, and then they'll forget why they're angry about their ice cream fell out of their cone or something.
Right.
And that's the kind of serpentine where we're just like, well, let's just trade out the emotion with something. And that doesn't really help the kid deal with the sorrow and loss of their ice cream being gone. It's a kind of avoidance.
Is that what you were thinking of?
Yeah.
I just wasn't sure since you were not Inside Out, but...
But yeah, Joy in Inside Out does that too, where she's just can't be bothered with the blue emotions,
Right.
But yeah, nobody lives like that. But that's one solution. Here's how you fix an uncomfortable feeling.
Right. Yeah, when she was talking about procrastinating, I was like, oh, yep. Mm-hmm. That's what I tend to do when I'm feeling really stressed out about a project. I actually was just thinking about it because this last month we've been having computer problems, and it's been very stressful and frustrating trying to put my writing, because I'm an author and I've got, 7 different projects going right now. And so trying to put that information, to get it off of my dead computer and put it onto something where I can actually use it It's
been quite a task.
Yes. Extremely difficult. And I have found myself sitting down and just being like, I don't want to do this. I just want to do something else. This is too hard. It's too stressful.
Yeah.
Well,
in a lot of media, that's kind of that's their mission. And they even come right out and say it like, hey, after a busy day, let's not deal with the emotions of your busy day. Let's just have a distraction.
Yeah.
And lots of entertainers say they take pride in that. We help people just kind of distract themselves.
Take a vacation from their lives.
Yeah, that's a good one. And that's a kind of serpentine too.
Yeah, and we're just like, I can't handle this, so I'm not going to be present for it. I'm either going to pretend like it's not happening, pretend that it's not bothering me.
Well, and it's weird because in a way we're all acknowledging life's too busy and it's very stressful and it's overwhelming and I can't handle it. So that's some good information. And then, so let's just get engrossed. Let's binge watch a TV show. And, okay.
One of the things that just kind of kills me about serpentining is that afterwards it didn't help.
Yeah.
Like, say you procrastinate, at least for me, like I said, that's my one, is like, okay, so I'm going to procrastinate. I'm going to go read this fan fiction first, or I'm going to go do the dishes first, or I'm going to go, whatever it is. Mm-hmm. And, oh, look.
The problem's still there?
Still there. Wow. No magical elf came along and fixed my problem while I was busy doing something else. Like, it's still got to get fixed.
Yeah. And so I think this one, since it's kind of a physical example, the solution, I think, is going to be fairly obvious, where we need to start engaging in stillness and sitting and quiet and acceptance. And that's the last thing I want to do when I'm overwhelmed. I want to keep moving because I know when I slow down, the wave's going to hit me and it's, and I'm not going to feel good.
Right.
And so I have to force myself to do this. And again, like earlier in the week, I talked about, the actual process of casting our cares on God, that takes an actual prayer with actual words that you say in it.
Right.
You don't just think about casting your cares on God and then like, okay, cool. Well, I'm still going to busy myself with something. And it's really difficult, but it's also so healing and amazing to stop. But I don't do it enough. I mean, we were just talking about, we used to kind of give each other a personal retreat day every so often, a few times a year or something. And
once a quarter.
It's been a long time since we've done it, and we're going to try to get back into that. And it's just like, well, when are we going to do it? And, it's not going to happen this week.
Calendar,
but we got to get it in, and we will. So it's a whole another topic is, what do we do on the retreat day? Because I can still get distracted. I'm like, I got the whole day to myself. And I can still be serpentining away from sitting in. I could sit in silence for like an hour, but I never hardly ever do that, And that could be such an amazing time.
Well, and I think, the more we avoid something, the more emotional compound interest we build up.
Yeah.
And we don't even recognize it.
Or we kind of do because we avoid it even harder because we're like, I know that boulder is getting bigger.
Yeah, but I don't think we consciously go, oh yeah, the more I avoid this, the harder it's going to be to deal with it when I actually get to the point of dealing with it. So one way that I like to deal with emotional compound interest is to do tapping. I have found myself doing that a fair amount this last month. Just being like, I can't handle this computer mess. And it's amazing how maybe that doesn't fix the problem.
It probably doesn't.
No, it doesn't. But it does help take away some of that emotional compound interest so that I can still be present and not switch into fight or flight mode.
I think it's good to realize, when we're just binge watching or serpentining, we're kind of just putting off the thing another day. But the thing's still coming. That doesn't have to be ominous either. It just could be an unpleasant emotion.
Right.
So let's feel it, and then it'll be over.
Right, yeah. I mean, emotions are funny that way.
Mm-hmm.
The more you welcome them, the quicker they go past. And the harder you push them away, the longer they stick around.
Yeah. I mean, they come, they do their job, and then they go. But if you keep them kind of locked up somewhere, then they still want to do their job. But we can't feel a year's worth of stuff all at once.
This is true. It takes work to work through it. And I think, that's so key, actually paying attention to that. Like we talked about on Tuesday with numbing, it's the difference between being someone who manages our emotions and being someone who solves the problem. Mm-hmm. Because if I'm stressed out about, a conversation I need to have with someone, I can keep avoiding it, and the stress will just keep pounding on me. Or I can learn, okay, here's what I need to do to have that kind of conversation. Or I can learn how to not get in the situation where I have to have that kind of conversation in the first place. When
we're talking about foreboding joy on Monday and just, the anxiety of it, when the thing comes, it's seldom, it's never just like you thought it would be. And you deal with it in the moment totally differently than this kind of 12-step plan or whatever you mapped out. Mm-hmm. And I think, with this too, like letting the grief come, it's like, oh, I can never handle it. And then it comes, and if you sit with it and let it be, I mean, it's a normal thing.
All right. Well, hopefully that gives us all something to think about. I know I always need to work on being more present.
Vulnerability shields it's a tough one. I mean, we value vulnerability so highly, and yet it's a lot of work to actually do.
But we want to be the kind of people who can grow and change and who deal with problems rather than symptoms and all those kinds of things.
That's our prayer for us. That's our prayer for you. We're glad you're here this week listening.
We love you guys, and we do pray for you all the time.
Yeah.
Thanks to everybody that's been listening to the show and sharing the show. We really appreciate it. If you have found this podcast helpful, please do continue to share it. And as always, pick whether today is going to be awesome, because you have a decision. You don't have to have it just go the way it's going to go. You can decide right now that it's going to be better, that you're going to have a positive outlook.
Yeah, you can take a turn. I mean, if you feel like your life's been a little bit out of control and crazy and you want to do something different, you can start today.
All right. Have an awesome weekend, you guys. Come back next week and we'll keep talking about the CSCs.
That's right. See ya.
Bye.